I've seen a lot of conjecture recently about people saying my exports sound different than my DAW session. Some kind of magical difference between exporting it out of a DAW and why it sounds different than the way it sounds in the DAW. There's also been some weird kind of conversations about meters changing the sound, but I'm not going to get into that. I want to show you a reason why your exports may sound slightly different. And it's not that they sound better or they sound worse. It's just they're a little bit different. Let's take a look at it. So I've got 3 exports here of exactly the same track. And all I've done is just hit bounce 3 times, essentially. Just gone for the same selection, the same everything. No dither, no anything. And you'll see on these 3, they're all perfectly phase aligned. So you can see this little kind of dip here is the same on all of them. They're perfectly phase aligned. So I've got a gain plugin on the second one, and the polarity is inverted, and it's that famous null test. So if we take a look at the first one, there's no gain plugin on there. The second one there is. So really, we should hear complete silence between these 2, but we don't. Have a listen. And moving through the track, we get even less kind of difference if we have a listen to the vocals.
Like you said, I try my best.
Similarly, if I turn that gain plugin off on this one and take a listen, so this is just the third bounce this time, 1 polarity inverted.
Baby steps.
We've got loads of drums that time. Now, when we compared and did a null test between the first bounce and the second bounce, we didn't hear any drums. On the second and third, we did. So there's discrepancies here between the drums, for a start, the snare in particular, the vocals and the guitars. Now, here's the reason for this, and it's dead simple, and it's kind of completely unavoidable. It's because of the plugins that I'm using. On the drums, hang on a minute, let me just bounce across that session. Okay, here we are in the session. So we heard some significant differences in the drums. Well, on my drum track, snare, trigger. I've got a trigger on the snare. That's important. We'll come to that in a moment. On the vocals, there was a significant difference. On the vocal, I've got Verb Suite Classics. On the guitar, I've got a particular reverb. I think it was down here. And it's Raum, because I quite like that. So let's think about these. Reverbs again, and drum triggering. These are non-linear processes. Let's take a look at drum triggering for a start. The way that drum triggering kind of works, or the way that it works and making it sound natural, is that it doesn't just fire one sample. It doesn't just have like this velocity, it's called the velocity 100. It doesn't just have one example of that sample. It has what we call a round robin. So every time it hears a sample of velocity 100, it won't always fire the same sample. And that's what's happening on the exports. It's going through that round robin. Let's say it's got 5 different examples of samples it could fire for that velocity. And the first export is firing sample number 1. The second export, number 2. Third export, number 3. Those samples are not phase perfect. They're not out of phase with each other. They're just not the same sample. So we're not going to polarity invert. And this is the key thing. It's the same on the vocals and on the guitars. When we've got reverb in there, they are not linear processes. And by linear processes, I mean, if we pop a EQ on something. So we've got this EQ here. And then if we export this track twice, essentially, with the same EQ and polarity invert one of them, it's going to polarity invert. It's going to completely cancel. And we can show that. So just for fun, let's take off the reverb, and let's keep the EQ on, obviously. Let's just duplicate that track for a moment. Command D, just duplicate that. And we're going to pop a polarity invert on this one. Polarity invert, there we go. And these 2 here, let's just Control and B, bounce in place. So this is going to be the 2 of them. Unfreeze that, whatever. Oh, we get silence. And by silence, I mean nothing on the meters. Absolute complete silence. Because we've done that EQ boost on both of them, and then we've just polarity inverted it. EQ, in this example, is a linear process. We're not dealing with any kind of analog modeling EQ, anything like that. It's purely just an EQ, which is going to null. It's just a linear thing, boost this, high mids in this case, and then polarity invert it. It's going to be nothing. If we do that same thing, though, with some reverb engaged. The guitar rig is providing my reverb there. And again, on the second one, we've got that gain plugin. So we've got the polarity inverted. So if we select both of those, Command B, wow, we've got something significantly different there. Because there's loads of stuff going on with that reverb that is not linear. It is absolutely not the same every time. If I were to go to this snare and do the same thing, so I'm just going to duplicate the track and then duplicate the audio, this is going to be even crazier because we've got BX console here, which is analog modeling. Then we've got 1176, which again is analog modeling. So if I select those two, I'm going to polarity invert one of them. Choose that one, doesn't matter. Let's take both of them, bounce in place, doesn't matter what it's called. And we're going to see loads of weird signal. Okay, have a listen. Really weird, because these are analog modeling plugins. They're modeling the non-linearities of these pieces of outboard. Now, in that example, the main thing that we really heard the difference on is kind of the noise, and it's the kind of the peaks, the initial hits. So the way the compressor is reacting is kind of changing over time, and those samples, some of them are kind of getting through a little bit, some of them kind of aren't. But those two examples just show you exactly why two bounces may not completely null. They may not completely polarity invert. Now, here's the big thing. I'm not saying that your export sounds better or worse than it sounds in the DAW. It just sounds slightly different. And arguably it sounds different, but not different enough to actually make a difference. Like, it's still got a sample on the snare. It's still got compression. It's still got reverb. It's going to be so minutely different, but different all the same. I'm not saying that you should bounce 5 different versions and see which one sounds better to you. You could do if you wanted to, but I don't think you're going to really hear that much difference. It's just that a null test is perfect. Regardless of whether people say they are or not, they are perfect. If something is completely silent, they are completely the same. Non-linearities in plugins are never going to null, because that's not what they're designed to do. They're supposed to be non-linear. Anything that is linear is going to null. Anything non-linear, not a chance in hell that it's going to null. Well, there is a chance in hell. It might. If you get really lucky, it might do. Like in that round robin example, if you happen to get a bit that is firing off the same sample, it will null. But reverbs, pretty unlikely. Hope that's cleared it up for you. There is a really clear reason, a really simple reason why stuff doesn't sound the same in your DAW as it does when you export, but it's so minutely different, and it's not necessarily better or worse. It's just the plugins that you've got on there. If you're using just linear plugins, so no analog modeling, no anything, you're probably going to get exactly the same, but I'm using loads of them, so I haven't. Hopefully that works. Take care.